YouTube. Yeah, so Westone Pantera. I picked up a couple of these, needed a bit of renovation last week, and this is the first one up and running. Not exactly 100% sure what I'm doing with both of these. The other one is red. Sit right there. In bits. Yeah, so two Panteras. Now I'd seen these before. These were a big deal at the time, and I'd never really got it. They're kind of modern, futuristic looking, 1986, but definitely a natural progression from the Westone Spectrums and such that were kind of always going this way. They've got a curved top, so it's kind of curved. This one is pearl pink. I really love the logo, which I hadn't really noticed before until I got one. See this logo here, which has got like a very much the Westone logo, but it's like a panther going across a triangle. That's really cool. So yes, 1986. This model is an X300 or something like that. Because I've got two of them, they both get varying. It's an X300. There's the truss rod cover. It says X300 on it. There's a few different models. There's a couple of really expensive ones. Trevor Rabin, who I'm not 100% sure who he was. I think he was. I've definitely got one of his records. I think he might have been in. I think he was in Yes or something like that. One of your guitar virtuoso type people. There's some signature models from his, which I'd imagine are probably very, very expensive. This is quite an expensive guitar in its day. So there's a few variations on it. This one just has one volume control. The other one's got a volume control and a tone control. But as far as I can tell, they're both the 300 model. I've done a wee bit of neck swapping because I noticed that that one there, yeah, the other one, someone spray painted the outside edge of it red, so I'm going to have to remove that. But I noticed that they didn't tape off the pickups very well, so there's red overspray on the pickups and on the bridge. And then when I looked at this neck, when I took this neck off to clean it up, I noticed there was red overspray on the pink neck, so it led me to believe that this neck, which was the one that was on the red one, is actually the one from the pink one. As in, so that it's back to having its own neck on it. This one has quite a cloudy. I don't know if you're really going to see it. If I can get the angle right. In fact, that light's not on. Maybe that's what it is. That'll make a difference. Yeah, potential light in the situation. Yeah, so I spent all day polishing this the other day, and I've kind of got rid of it. It's a little bit cloudy looking, but it was almost white. Really, the headstock. The other one's got a much better headstock. I'm not, as I said, I'm not exactly. None of this is nailed down. I didn't have the correct clamp, so this is actually one off a Caller. There's your nut. It's behind there, so it's not actually an officially licensed Floyd Rose. It's what the bridge on it is a Bendmaster Deluxe. This cable's not long enough for me to show you, but it's basically very much like a Floyd Rose, apart from stick the strings in from the back, they come through and then they go under like a wee clip thing, and then they go over a roller. So in many ways better than a Floyd Rose. Definitely much more fun to use without having to cut off the string ends and those wee stupid blocks that always fall out and just never, to me, even the most expensive actual Floyd Rose, having a wee metal block that just kind of sits there and you clamp it in just doesn't seem very secure to me. I don't like the design of that. Yeah, so Graphite Nut has the original Gotoh Westone tuners. I have not yet put on the clip on the back, which I always wanted a guitar that had one. These things, where it's like a wee holder, goes in the back, so you can have the two Allen keys. You need the one for the clamp and the one for, I don't know what the other Allen keys for. I'll find two Allen keys that are usable on the guitar. Then it's really just that. It's really just those ones you really need to have on the back. I've never actually had a guitar that's had that on it. Awesome shaped headstock. It's tilted back at a crazy angle, so I'd imagine this is probably scarf jointed, painted black neck. I do have the back cover, it's not on it. I just put rubber heat shrink tubing onto these springs to stop them pinging, so you can now ping them away and they don't go boing, which although sounds a bit silly, it makes a difference because it means you can hit a chord and then mute it and it doesn't go you don't get all this ringing stuff going on. Got the original tremolo bar. Not really much more to say apart from it's really nice guitar. I've had this hanging up there last night when I was watching telly, and the more I look at it the more I'm yeah. It kind of reminds me of is it the Jelly Bean Factory logo or something like that? It's very much a jelly bean, kind of this sort of shape. Originally I thought it looked kind of like an organ that's fallen out, you know, like your spleen or your liver or something, kind of looks a bit like this. Two what are they called? Magnaflux pickups, I think these are, single coils, and the bridge pickup is a Magnaflux UBC, which is an unbalanced coil. So see, it's got like a bar magnet one and a hex and a normal pickup. Well, apparently the UBC idea, the unbalanced coil, is when you've got a humbucker, an HSS like this, the humbucker is generally much louder than the other two pickups. But when you split the humbucker in half, it becomes really quiet. So you can either have, if you just use, like, if you imagine this coil being the same as these two, you end up with, it's fine when it's in split modes, but when you're in humbucker mode, it's pure mega powerful, too much so on the bridge. And if you do it the other way around, you end up with, if you get the humbucker balanced, so it's the humbucker and the two singles are the same volume, then when you split this, when you split the bridge pickup, it's really quiet. So this one has like a weak coil and a strong coil. So the coil, when you coil split it, is a similar sort of output to these two. But then when you add in the other coil, because it doesn't increase the volume as much as it would do if it was the same, it's like a weaker coil and a stronger coil. Hence unbalanced coil. Small frets on this one. The other one I think has been refretted because it's got jumbo frets. This one's got the thin Fendery type frets, which I think is probably more likely to be correct. Although it's possible they did, you know, they're both 1986, but this one could be, you know, mid 1986 and that one's late 1986 or something like that. You know, it is possible to change the design a little bit and maybe putting an extra tone control in. It's pretty cool not having an extra tone control, but I can see why by not having it you suddenly are like, well, you feel a wee bit sort of a wee bit dangerous not having a tone. Yeah, so I'll put on some clean, which is kind of what I've been playing this guitar with, not really using the distortion that much, but it really does. Sounds fantastic. Neck pickup. Just in 4. Middle pickup. Version 2 in coil split mode. And humbucker mode. Then bridge pickup, single coil. Humbucker. So we're in clean, let's keep it single coil. humbucker. But single coil. So that's I'm playing to wee lady DC-15. That cabinet got the Moore drummer on, it's a loop pedal and no other pedals on just now, so this is kind of clean. Bit of a Joyo US Dream distortion. Go for the bit more distortion, twin note, first pedal. initial impressions were, wow, it's a very clean sounding guitar. It's kind of, I suppose, I reckon playing your Steel Panther and stuff is probably going on, because around about this time was, 86 was kind of when you started getting all your Kramers and Charbells and all that, that was the fashion. This is a year before what I consider to be the dawning of the Super Strat with the Ibanez Gem. So this is 86, and the Gem's 87 when the RGs came out. So this is what the sort of pinnacle at the time in 1986 of what a guitar could be. It's really good for the sort of lots of distortion kind of mentally. Neck on it's fantastic. It's kind of it's less stratty. It's thin. It's more like a sort of turbo neck. Now, if you go look to the earlier Westones, they were very much Fender Strat style necks, and very, very good Fender Strat style necks. This one is more thinner and sleeker. The whole guitar is kind of sort of quite thinner and sleeker and a bit more painted to go fast. So this is the danger of being gigged with the band Cranking House I'm in, because it's rather cool. I was looking for a black t-shirt, but I'm trying not to. There's still black t-shirts available. I've sold a couple of them, and then I've sold a few to myself as well. I'm trying not to just run through, because I think it would go quite well with the big guitar. So instead of going for a colour that went with it, I went for green, which obviously doesn't go with it. But, so who knows where Matsumoku would have gone next if they hadn't lost the Singer sewing machine contract and then had to close down. Because that's what happened. Although there was a bit of a downturn in guitars from Japan in general, the peak was really sort of 1980 to 1983 or something like that, when all the Japanese guitar companies were trying to make the best guitar in the world at a reasonable price, but trying to make just the best guitar, and they were all really fighting all your Arias and Washburns and stuff like that. And then by the time it got to sort of 85, I think something happened to the yen, like the exchange rates, so the guitars became much more expensive. So they sort of started compromising a little bit. I'm not saying compromising the way modern guitars are compromised, I'm talking about compromising from being as good a guitar as they can possibly make to being, well, we don't need to do that fancy stuff, no one can see the routing in below the scratch plate and stuff like that. Whereas this seems to be a stab at doing a total premium model. These were not cheap. I looked it up. The price list for it said 375 quid in 1986, which if you scale that up comes up at 980 odd quid. So basically you're looking at, now this would be £1,000 guitar, but it's also got 30 years worth of aging going on it. It's actually in very good condition, this one. There's a few wee dinks there which are quite annoying, kind of look like runes. But apart from that, this guitar is in fantastic nick. I was talking to a guy last night, and he was saying that he used to buy Antoria guitars when he was like a kid. This is the sort of late 70s, I think. And he said they weren't like what they are now. They weren't very good, whereas now, because they're 30 years old, everything's changed. Like the same guitar, but it's like, which I kind of suspected maybe that's kind of one of the reasons why I can go into a guitar shop and play guitars at £1,500 and play ones that aren't as good as this by miles. Maybe over 30 years everything settles down. Does the wood crystallise or dries out or something? It definitely gives them a feel. This feels like a very expensive guitar. You're not going to find a guitar that feels like this one for under £1,500 or something like that, and a new guitar, and then just the total leagues above. But believe the hype with these. I was never really that keen on the shape, but I like it now. It's one of those things that digital. If I've got a guitar, I'm not 100% sure. My new guitar hangs there, so when I'm watching telly, it kind of catches at the corner of my eye. And this one, partly I think to do with the colour. The colour is just phenomenal. I mean, the red one's a really nice candy apple. Taking the screws out of that pickup. The red one's a really nice candy apple red. It's very dirty just now. Get the light on it, but you can see, as you can see there, it's been, previous owner spray painted it dull red around the outsides for some unknown reason. It doesn't look like it's that damaged. So I mean, we're talking, the amount of hours I'm going to have to put into that, polishing it to try and get rid of that stuff is just ridiculous. My plan was I was going to make one of them work so I could play it while I was sitting there polishing up that, or tea-cutting it, or however I'm going to get rid of it. I don't know whether I can, try and sand off the paint and then deal with the scratches that the sandpaper leaves, or do I just try and polish it off? Not decided yet. I'm also not 100% sure whether I like this particular clamp on it. The original Westone ones, it's just kind of, it's more like your Floyd Rose clamp, but it's dead difficult to get parts from because they don't have, you normally get the 3B blocks. On a Westone, it's like the outside two are triangular shaped and then it's a square one, so you can't just have three the same, and you need to buy Westone ones and they're dead hard to find and annoying. I've got like 3 or 4 options for clamps like this. As I said, this is not a licensed Floyd Rose, so it's got a nut as well as a clamp. The reason I put the clamp, I was going to miss it out, the reason I put the clamp on was really as partly a string guide, because if you don't put the clamp on and you've got this string going straight onto the nut, that's a bit of an angle, so it's kind of coming into the nut and doing kind of going like that, and it's like, that's just going to stick. So that's why it's got a guide on it at all. So I just got this working this morning. Last night I had it all set up and playing, and the saddles have been moved on this particular guitar, which I never thought of looking at. Lesson learned. So what it was doing was like instead of so it goes E, A, D, G, like that with the saddle height. They're sort of fixed at the radius of the fingerboard, and some of them were in the wrong order, so it kind of went da, 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 and then the D string was like 5mm lower than all the other ones, so it was like fine, apart from the D string was away tight against the fretboard and buzzing. So I had to take the things off and put them in the right order, which was really annoying because it meant I had to take off the strings, unthread them through this stupid clamp thing, unthread them through the bridge, swap the saddles about, thread them back through the bridge when you no longer get a straight bit, it's like it's a bent bit, and then I had to put it in. Yeah. Anyway, I've done it and I'm happy now. So I'm going to spend most of this weekend playing this and just getting used to it, but I mean, it didn't take very long. It really was literally 5 minutes. Well, I've only played it for 10 minutes before I started doing this video, but after a couple of minutes somebody started going, yeah! It's an awesome guitar. It might be the best Westone I've got. I can kind of see Paul Gilbert playing a guitar like this now. Can't remember it. Total rock god. Someone asked me the other day during the live stream, I forgot to play it. Can't do the next bit. I'm not sure whether you just wing or do you have to hit it? I feel it should be picked. Is everyone a hammer on? I don't know. Anyway. This one just seems to fit me so well, very comfortable. Mind you, I really love that one as well. It's very different to this. The Aria Pro laser kind of just seemed to fit me as well. I think the problem is I just like all guitars. It's really on the clean. When I was playing this before I started the thing, the neck pickup just sounds glorious. And the trem's really good to learn to use this one. Bit upbend as well. That's, I mean, the reason I think for the, stick on the chorus pedal just because it's kind of what suits this guitar. I think part of the reason was you had your big chorusy. Works very well with this type of guitar. But really copes with it well. 86 was like when power ballads started being a thing, so you had your chorus a bit more, I think. I'm not hating the chorus as much as I normally do, I think, because I'm playing the guitar that looks like this. Obviously, super souls over the top. Over show off with some delay. Winging an 80s power ballad with big solo in the end and Freebird type ending maybe didn't work immediately, because I've not quite learned how to use this guitar yet. I'm not sure the first pedal's the right thing for this particular guitar. Rat pedal. Yeah, maybe not quite holding tune quite yet, but these strings have, well, I've been on it, and then off it again, and then back on it again this morning and played for 10 minutes, so a wee bit of stretching in is involved. So yeah, I mean, believe the hype. The Panteras are worth the hype, because I mean, I'd heard people saying they were amazing, but not really, never really having seen any. I've never really seen any videos on it or anything like that. But the last of the Westones, it really suits my collection quite nicely. What I need now is one of the first of the Westones, so these are 1981 or 1980. 81 to get my a 1981 or a 1981 one. I think to get me up to scratch. I believe my Clipper 6 is from 1986 as well, although it might be 87. I need to have a look at it. It'd be nice to have a Westone from every year, wouldn't it? But awesome. And is it better than the Spectrums? Yes, it is, but it's also an awful lot more expensive. I've never seen one of these cheap before. This one wasn't cheap. I've never seen one, you know, for 100 and something quid. It just doesn't happen. I think they're too well known, and I mean, it's hard to tell. I wasn't there. I wasn't about 1986. Well, I was, but I was like, you know, 6, 8 or something like that. So it's like I wasn't going into guitar shops. Whereas if you were going into guitar shops, I think these things were the stuff you drool over. There's a couple of different models. There's a 200 and a 275. I think the 200 just got one pickup, just got a humbucker, and the 275, I'm not really sure how that varies for this one. I think it's maybe got a flat top, and it maybe doesn't have the pearl finish, you know, but basically the similar sort of body shape. And the Rabin ones I've never even looked up. There's a great website if you're looking up Westone Info, or is it just the home of Westone Guitars? If you just type in Westone Guitars, there is an official site, which is, or not an official site, someone's made up a fan site, and it's really good, and it's got most of the catalogues, pretty much all the model numbers, blah blah blah, and yeah, and it's like, as I said, the Japanese ones are super rocking. I do need to get myself a Korean one to see what they're like. In my other experience going from when Aria went to Korea and when Washburn went to Korea, the quality went to what we now consider to be a normal guitar. You know, like sort of your lower mid-range things, you know, if you're buying an Epiphone or a Squier for sort of 400 quid or something like that, that's what you get when you buy the Korean Arias and Washburns. It's probably the same with the Westones. Whereas if you're if you get a Japanese one, you're talking as kinda as good as a guitar can be level. You know, your American Fenders, Gibsons, PRS, all that malarkey. Apart from it's this shape and much more desirable. To me, much less desirable to everybody else. So yeah, and I think I can't keep two of them. But as soon as I saw this one, it was like it was the colour got me. It's not only is it a Pantera, it's also pearl pink, which is awesome. It sort of slightly changes colour depending on what light you shine on it. Sometimes it's quite a sort of ambery pink, and sometimes it's a really pinky pink. Or if you put blue, sometimes it's a bluey pink. And this one came with the original case, which is a super awesome 80s Westone leathery looky thing with a big badge on it. It's like, yeah, have that. So I think this is the one I'm keeping, and I'll do up the other one and sell it. The other one will probably be more valuable than this one. I think the guy who I bought this off said he had 3 of them, and he tried to make. The plan was he was going to make one really good one using the 3 different guitars. I'm not sure he actually did that, because I only saw 2 of them. I wonder if he's got another one that he didn't put up for sale, and these were the sort of donor guitars. But it's like really bizarre getting a couple of guitars and all the bits for the bridge are there. I've only got one tremolo arm, but I've got the original one to try and make so I can measure it up and try and get one that looks the same. But it's like all the saddles are there. It's like, wow, it's like so rare to find a Floyd Rose that's got all the bits on it. All the bits are there. The clamps at the top maybe weren't very good or are gone. But apart from that, so I think what this one, I don't think this was the guy's favourite. I think this was his least favourite one. So this is the least played one. I think he preferred the red one. Maybe he wasn't. Maybe maybe he didn't want a pearl pink guitar, or maybe he pure loved the tone control. I was toying with the idea of messing about with the wiring and make it the coil adder 10, which would, instead of, just now, if you're on the humbucker, pull up the volume control and it splits it into a single coil. So I was thinking, instead of just splitting it into a single coil, so basically you get 2 extra sounds. You get humbucker and humbucker in the middle, and then if you've got it up, you've just got like a Strat. Whereas I was thinking, if I put the coil adder in, adding in the bar magnet coil or whatever one it is, it would give me 5 different humbucker sounds. It would also give me, oh no, it wouldn't necessarily be a humbucker, it wouldn't be the Gilmore switch. I think if it's not broke, don't fix it. I might do something with the other one. The other one's got I think it's, I don't know what pickup it is. It doesn't have this one. I think this is the original pickup with the bar on it. I have seen pickups that look like this in Marlins. They won't be the same pickup though. Rocking, 40 minutes. Ah well, it's Friday night. Party on. Wayne, Garth and everyone. And I get well soon, Wayne. Wayne's not doing very well. Get some heart attacks. That's not a good thing. What he wants, a pink Pantera. The Pink Pantera. That's why I was playing that song at the start. Rock on. Catch you later.